Welcome everybody, of course, Latin Nerds Network. This is the episode of the Watchlist, your virtual TV guide where we review and talk about all the shows that get released across all forms of streaming, let you know what's going on, what you should watch, what you shouldn't watch. We'll give you an update, we'll give you, an idea of what to watch in the coming weeks as well towards the end of the show. It's a big week, a lot of releases, so let's get to it. Of course, I introduce my co-host, live from Houston, the ambassador of love, our TV guru himself, Senor Jaime, aka Chewy. How you doing, big bro?
Yeah, what's up, man? What's going on?
It's very exciting. It's week 3 of fantasy, so you're soon to be 0-3. So I'm sure it's very.
It's week 1 for me. The first 2 weeks were just preseason, so now it starts. Let's do this.
The season starts now. Yeah.
The season starts today.
Good luck with that. Your season may end today.
Yeah, no shit.
Keep that in mind. CMC. But if your season ends, listen, that's okay because there's plenty to watch. You know, like this week, a lot of shows popped up. We'll get to all of it. It's probably one of the biggest weeks you've had in terms of stuff to watch, and it was a daunting task to say the least. With the shows we've been watching throughout the week, and I think it was like 6 or 7 shows that got released this week. So that's a lot. So we'll get into it. A lot of stuff to watch. It was a good problem to have. You know, first world problems. We have a lot of stuff to watch and entertain yourself. There's some good stuff out this week that we really enjoyed. But before we get to that, a bit of sad news. We want to pay our respects here in memoriam. Chewy, not sure if you heard about this, but we are, very sad, kind of, not really, but we want to pay respects anyway to a show that got canceled by Netflix. That is, of course, Hit and Run, this Israeli kind of thriller-esque show. Kind of a Liam Neeson kind of a vibe to it, action film.
Good luck.
And yeah, I mean, not a big deal. I can't say I'm surprised. This is one where I think we both liked it for the most part.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
But I think I said, even after I said I wasn't looking forward to a second season, I wish it had just been a limited series. I guess now it is a limited series. I wish it should have just wrapped up. So whatever, not a big deal. So for looking for season 2,
good luck.
Yeah. You're in line just with Chewy's fantasy team at this point. Hello. Let's get to it. A lot to talk about here. So let's start with the first one here. This is a show that got released, I think, on Tuesday. It's Netflix, and a reality show. We rarely do reality shows. I don't watch reality TV for the most part. And that's one called Love on the Spectrum. Not your typical, reality shows. It isn't like those stupid dating shows that you see. It's nonsense. This one here, of course, focuses on, I think it's based on Australia. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think most are in Australia. That's
right.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, taking the characters are they're those on the spectrum, of course, autism, and they're the quest to find a partner. So it's one of those shows where I love season 1, season 2. It's really good. I think I've seen like 4 or 5 episodes so far. It's only 6 episodes as it is, but it's a really, really, really sweet and endearing show. It's just one where it's very heartwarming. It's one of the ones like, if you don't get the feels in this show, you don't have a heart at the end of the day. That's why I'm looking at it.
Heartless.
Yeah, exactly. But it's very good. And it kind of goes, they talk to these individuals and they go on these dates, and it's very sweet show. And again, those who like yourself too, you're a father, one of a son who's on the spectrum, so it's very hopeful at the same time. That it is, because you don't think about dating is hard enough for anybody who's not on the spectrum, much less on the spectrum, right? Dating sucks, and to see individuals go through that, it's interesting. That's something you don't really think about. It's like, oh yeah, why couldn't they date like anybody else, right? I mean, for the most part. So Chewy, you got into it. What do you think?
No, I mean I have the same thoughts. It's very heartwarming. It's got the feels. It makes you feel good. Right, you put for some of the not characters, people, right, individuals. Michael as one who it just makes you laugh, but in a good way, right? You're not laughing at him, you're laughing with him, and the way he does, and how he's trying to find that one connection, right, and the options that he goes through, and you kind of feel for him in some respect. Now, I know the people are on the show, so. I like it. It's good. It's short. It's sweet and very endearing.
Yeah, it really is. It's one of those a nice kind of change of pace kind of shows, right? It's not like you're saying The Bachelor or something like that. It's just a little more,
This isn't fantasy. This is Love Island,
right? Or not,
Naked and Love,
right? It's just nonsense, and again, it's just one of those. It's like you can't help but just get you watch. It's like, oh man, these guys you root for. It's like, come on, find somebody, right? You can't help yourself. But a good watch. I think it both I recommend on both of our ends. Another one came out, which we were looking forward to, and that is, of course, Star Wars Visions on Disney Plus. This was a obviously Star Wars based show, an anthology, if you will. Like I think like 12 to 20 minute episodes, all anime style, different artists from around the world, and they took a independent story based off the Star Wars world and created whatever they want to create. So, Chewy, take the lead here. What do you think? I don't know how many you saw, but what do you think so far of the episodes?
I'm 5 in, and this is probably not going to be very popular. It's okay. I
Fair.
am just not digging it. It's these are basically these are like shorts, right? These
Yeah,
are
the
little
shorts. Yeah,
shorts.
they're like
Um,
most of them like I'll say
you
about
know,
14, 15 minutes.
not canon. It's just here, come up with the story, draw it up, and we'll put it out there. That's all it is, right? Um, I just it's just okay. It's nothing special. It's nothing that's like gonna get me excited. I mean, I thought I was looking forward to this. I thought this was gonna be something to expand the Star Wars universe, and it. I mean, this is one episode which I think it was episode 4, which is basically every the line was they were just dropping every line from the first 3 movies. I got a bad feeling about
Oh, right,
this.
right, yeah.
All this. I was like, really, really, come on, man. I got enough of that with the sequel trilogy. I don't need that again in a short, right? Give me originality for the love of Christ. But it's just okay. If obviously if you're a Star Wars fan, you'll find it entertaining. It's got some good action, it's got some good animation. It's all different styles. But I don't know, it's just for me. It's just like nothing big deal. I mean, let me put it this way: I'm not excited for this. It's like whatever.
Yeah, listen, I enjoyed it. I think 6 of them. I like the idea of it more. The show, they're fine. The first one I really liked, and it's cool because this is what I want to see him come to Star Wars. I want to see him kind of go beyond what we
Yeah.
already know, right? In terms of the current galactic order, or Luke Skywalker, which I love as much as the next guy and all that. Love Mandalorian, but it's nice to see him kind of break out and give us something different, and at least give us an idea of what Star Wars could look like if they actually wanted to expand and go,
Mhm.
years in the future or behind, whatever the case is, right? Take different characters, and you can still have lightsabers and cool stuff, shit like that,
Yeah.
and that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm not overblown by it by any stretch of the imagination, but I enjoyed it for what it is. It's short watch,
Yeah.
again, 15 minutes per episode, give or take a little bit less. So not bad. But I recommend if you're a Star Wars fan, yeah, if you're an anime fan, of course. If you neither one of those two, then yeah, that show's not for you, and I get it completely. So yeah, not a huge hit, but I think it's one I would recommend. The other one came out on Netflix. This one we talked about before, leading into it, was Jaguar. This was a show, a Spanish show. And Spanish shows
Mhm.
usually, do pretty well. Money heist, La Casa de Papel, for example.
Mhm.
And this one where I think it's a woman, a female, she's young, 20s, 30s maybe, who was a Holocaust survivor. She was in a concentration camp. Her parents were killed. She was kind of taken to, I guess, be in life of servitude when she was young, and now she's hell bent on revenge and getting back at those that put her there and killed her parents, her father. And there's another group kind of doing something similar, going after trying to seek justice to those Nazis who were hidden. Six
Mhm.
place in the 60s, and they kind of recruit her forcefully, but she agrees to join up with them, help them kind of the causes as far as hunting down these. In this case, one particular Nazi who they're trying to, like a doctor who
Mhm.
did unspeakable things, and as far as in concentration camps. Listen, I'm all for any show like has the Nazis getting the comeuppance, dirty bastards. So Hunters was a show that same kind of premise. I came on Amazon Prime last year.
Mhm.
Yeah, 6 episodes. Chu, let you take the lead here. What you think about this?
Um, Actually, I was bored. It was just okay. I don't think this is a recommend by any stretch, or even if you have filler, I don't even think this gets to the filler level. Just because the pacing seems off, the story is not compelling. The way the story is told, it just you can't connect with it. It's just kind of all over the map, really. Um, the one character, okay, but the rest, eh, whatever, you know.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's it's
I
just
was hoping for better,
it's
and it's just eh.
yeah. This
It's
is
not.
this
It's
is
not even worthy of meh. It's eh.
it's yeah. It's weird. It's and I really want to like it.
Yeah.
And I'm 4 in. I'm just hoping it gets better. I'll probably just finish it because I'm already 4 in. I'm not saying it's the worst thing I've seen. It's not. It's okay. The premise is cool, right? Like I said, I like the idea. Nazis getting theirs. Okay, I'm all in. Sign me up. But yeah, it's just very slow and just generic. That's the best word to say it, right?
Yeah.
Nothing special. Nothing really sticks out, stands out. It'd be cool if they were hunting like hunters, right? It was more than just one Nazi they're going after, and maybe every episode is someone else. Here was just they're focusing on one and they're getting the plan together to capture this one Nazi who's trying to seek refuge, safe places, right? Via Nazi sympathizers. But yeah, it just didn't work, and it's like the intro is so weird.
Yeah, the intro is like action and high pace,
Right.
and the story and the show is the anti intro. It's like slow,
Right. The
methodic.
intro is kind of kooky and whack. Intro reminded me of Hunters, right? What the show, the vibe is giving out, and the show is like the complete opposite. It's very jarring, and some of the kind of the taglines they put on there, which is I guess it's a few weeks
3 weeks
to capture
yeah,
this guy.
yeah.
Yeah, 3 weeks left. Whatever. It's very colorful. It looks like Tarantino kind of thing, and the show does not reflect that at all. It's very odd. The music choices, it's odd. I'm not recommending it to me. Again, I agree with you. It's not one I recommend. I mean, again, nothing else to watch. But in a week like this, trust me, there's plenty to dive in. Even older shows I recommend 20 times more than this one. It just it lost itself, and it is what it is. So not a recommend on either of our parts here. So that's fine. The next one here we have is, of course, a show that we love, and that's Doom Patrol. Came out on Thursday on HBO Max. This one, obviously, a show that season 3. One that I think we're a big fan of, Chewy. On this one, this obviously continuing the story from where 2 left off. And I think you've seen, they dropped 3 episodes. Chewy, I thought you saw all 3.
Yeah, I did see all 3, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I did too. Yeah, listen, this show it's not for everybody. I'll say every now. You've mentioned that. It's quirky. It's out there in such a good way, and it's just the most unique comic book hero story, whatever, out there, right? I don't think there's any doubt about that. And yeah, I mean, the first episode was kind of weird because it was really wrapping up season 2.
I mean, the first episode is actually should have been put into last year, because it kind of last season it is like abruptly ended. Obviously, due to COVID and production, so they have to stop.
Right, exactly.
So the first episode is actually conclusion of season 2, because it wraps up that story. We have the father dying. We have everyone kind of going their own way. So that's what made it weird. So I understood. So I'm fine.
Yeah, it had to. I get it. It didn't finish. Season 2 didn't really wrap up the way it should have.
It finished. Yes.
Right. It kind of just finished it and set up what would have been now what's going to move forward, which is fine. And so episode 2 and 3, I consider, okay, now we're into Doom Patrol, and it lives up to what Doom Patrol does. Give you these really out there and strange looking characters and kind of bizarre premises. Even a 3rd episode where they're in purgatory.
That one I love,
which is great.
We had the ghost hunters.
Yes.
And we get the sex loving cameo ghost.
Oh, that's right, the ghost sex guys. Yeah, from season 2. For those who are familiar with it.
Every episode they show up.
Yeah, it's great because this is a heavy R show, right? As quirky and kooky as it is, it's very heavy, and it's definitely very adult for the most part. But yeah, man, it's just a show. It's so much fun. The show does things that no other show can't get away with.
Doesn't take itself too seriously, and
right, exactly. It knows what it is, and it revels in it. Right, it's like, this is what we are. We are weird. We are strange, and we're not hiding away from that. Right, and the characters they introduce, like the alien guy in the first one, the second episode, he's funny. They're doing a sauna talking with Brendan Fraser.
Well, he's alien assassin, right? He's been
right,
there. Yeah. Oh, I mean, decades. He's been there decades at this one resort, waiting. It's funny. It's actually pretty comical.
Yeah, this is a high. I mean, this is a show. This is the 3rd season, so if you haven't seen it, you want something unique, particularly in the superhero genre. This is one I highly recommend you go back and watch the first 2 seasons. They're all on HBO Max. As like I said, once it hits 2 or 3, I try not to recommend it, but we just started 3, so I say if you're interested, watch them all. Because season 3 is really good. I mean, season 2 was okay compared to season 1. But now season 3 is looking like it's picking up for the same, more so the vibe of season 1, I thought, so far. It's only 3 episodes, but yeah, that's a must watch for me. Chewy, I think I would assume you agree. Moving on, let's go to Apple Plus. And this is one we were looking forward to it. We both love sci-fi. It's a show which reminded me of what's the show on Amazon Prime? Chewy.
Expanse.
Expanse. I'm sorry. Yes. In the same vein, Expanse. Really good show, by the way. It's called Foundation. Brand new show based off a book, right?
Series of
A
books
series of
by
books,
Isaac
right?
Asimov, yes.
Much like
Written
Expanse
in the
is.
40s and 50s, yes.
Yeah, I don't know much about the property itself. I hear it's very dense and it's very difficult to put on screen, which
It's
yeah,
dense,
okay.
it's expansive, it's
Yes.
I mean, he wrote these books over 10 years, I mean, a long time. And it's a series of short stories and novels, so it's a hodgepodge of him building out the story, right, through various characters. So
Right.
this is no way could this be done in a movie, even attempt to
Oh
do
no,
a movie.
impossible. It's too much there, even just by the first. And they dropped 2 episodes. I know Chewie saw one. I saw both. And obviously this takes place in different galaxy, universe, whatever. Humanity's somewhere completely different than what we see now. Obviously, and what most sci-fi movies portray. There's this, I guess the empire would be the right word, but I guess there's a ruling.
Well, I mean, there's an
and there is,
empire
I guess, an
that runs
empire,
this galaxy. They've been in
right,
power, well,
for centuries.
well, more than centuries. I
Right.
mean, we're talking thousands of years.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
under
Millennium.
the
Sorry.
current structure, just kind of laying out the background a little bit. The current structure, the current leader, they've been in power for a few centuries, 300, 400, maybe 500 years. And the reason they got to that, and obviously the motto is peace. Keep the peace. Obviously humans are a warring species, obviously, but they've done that through some sort of genetic manipulation, and so that's kind of been the quiet. That's kind of been the secret sauce to get us where we are now, right? But then the Ed Harris character, I can't remember, Jed Harris character, is basically, mathematically shown that this is not sustainable.
Right. He predicts.
Reason.
He predicts the future via math, right, and probabilities, and he's a genius, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's cool because the leadership, like you talked about, is there's this. They clone themselves, right? So we have one who's of, I guess, 30s age. You have the old version, so they call him dawn, day, and night. Something like that.
Yeah, which
Okay.
is So it's a Lee Pace character. So we
Right.
see him. He's the I guess the bear is just right. He's in the middle. He has a younger clone of himself who they're training to take over at some point, and obviously the older version who's already been in power already and is more in an advisory role, right? But it's basically the same person.
But it's a clone of themselves, and
Yes,
it's an
and
older
it's-
version, a young, like
Yes.
maybe teenage boy, maybe younger, and then of course the main guy who's overseeing everything. So I guess that's how they maintain the lineage and maintain themselves in power, etc. Something like
Yes.
that along those lines. So I'll say this. Listen, this one it's a dense show. I can tell right away, and I think by the first episode, I'm talking about you. It's just there's a lot going on, and understandably, you have to introduce a lot of elements.
Yeah, because we start at a planet called a little ominous name, right? A backwater world in the middle of nowhere, and with some people there and some kids, and they introduce this vault, what they call it the vault.
Right.
But then the narrator, kind of lays it out. It's like before you know what's going on, you gotta go back to the beginning, right? And to do flashback about 35 years back to the capital world of the empire, and starts telling the story from there, right? It's not a big jump; it's only 35 years in the grand scheme of things, but it lays out the context of why these people are this kind of
galactic unrest, obviously, factions warring, and they're trying to keep the peace, yada yada yada. And no one, this mathematician, he's heresy what he's saying essentially, right? He gets banned because no one wants to believe that that's actually going to happen, that this empire is going to crumble at some point and take a millennia, thousands of years to kind of get back to where it was. And the mathematician is not, he's saying they're not going to prevent this from happening, but they can try to alleviate it to make the time to kind of get back to where they were much shorter, right? Instead of taking thousands of years, maybe a few hundred years to get back in order. So, but yeah, so it's a lot. It's okay. It's just, I don't know, it's very slow paced, and look, it looks amazing. I mean, the production value is up there. It looks gorgeous, right? It's filmed beautifully. It looks great. The technology, the science stuff, super cool. Like a lot of these ideas they present, but the show itself, it's okay. It's kind of soon for me to tell you, yeah, go watch it. I think if you're into sci-fi, you should give it a shot. Chewy, I mean, I think you're higher on this than I am.
I'm in. After this first episode, I mean, just visually stunning.
It's amazing.
I don't think I think that shortchanges how good this looked.
That looks fantastic.
Especially compared to some of the shows that we watch, even on Netflix and some other things, they look great. But Apple Plus has just taken us to the nth degree, and
Yeah.
this looks amazing. They've
Yeah.
cut no corners. They've spent a fair amount of coin. They dropped the coin to the witchers to make this great.
Yeah. Yeah. They spare no expense.
Yes,
No question.
but and maybe hopefully let's see how the season progresses. 10 episodes. This is just I've only seen the first one of the two that drop, and it's going to be weekly.
Right.
But it tells a compelling story. I'm fine with that. I am perfectly okay. I wasn't expecting an action show, even though we did get some pretty cool action in this first episode, where I'll call them terrorists, whatever, freedom fighters, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
They blow up and so it's kind of hard to put in context. But there's a way station that basically the technology is that it's connected to the home planet, and that's how you transfer it back and forth, right? Another value system. I've seen it in some sci-fi stories where they kind of tell that a means to get to space faster than trying to fly people up and down. And so someone literally they blow it up, and when you hear the app, you see that. I mean, they do a good job of showing how this cable literally looks like a cable, but it's obviously much more massive, and it kills 100 million people. So let's put that into context. I mean, something this massive, this much destruction, right? And killing, and basically they kind of blow up the whole station, which is pretty cool. They show a perspective of someone in one of these elevator cars, right? And they're falling, and now it's coming down to burning up, but then the glass is starting to break, and so they get burned up.
Yeah, they get sucked out. Yeah.
So,
I haven't seen this much destruction since your fantasy team last couple weeks. Hello, that's neither here nor there.
But I'm so sorry.
It's another story for another day. But no, listen, it's cinema quality. It's worth it just to a big screen TV. It's a show just to watch and just like
4K and it sounds. Great.
Right, Google, just your drools. And man, this looks beautiful. It really does. It's probably one of the best looking shows I've seen in a while.
Because
it's Apple.
Each planet is different. Each faction is different. You have one overseeing power, but then you get these two factions who are warring against each other. They're trying to get in with the power to get them to rule in their favor. So there's a political intrigue, which is something that we kind of enjoy. But there's a human element, right? Or humanity, a story behind it, right? As far as what happens when everything around you starts crumbling down, right? You're at your peak of your technical prowess, but it's not enough to basically prevent the calamity that's coming, right? And that's basically internal. It gets destroyed from within. So that's what this
yeah. The show did enough to get me engaged, but again, it's early. It's only 2 episodes, right? This is a show that's so dense. The first episodes are going to be very loaded with information, exposition, and it needs to, and I get it. Introducing new characters. I think by episode 4 or 5, we're going to see where the show is going. And this is one we'll probably bring up after it's done, just to see if it was worthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
If the story matched the production value. I mean, Apple's got deep pockets, bro. They fucking... they got $1 million hitting the couch somewhere like this.
They got this show, and they got another show, Invasion, coming out in next month. October or November. Yeah. So they're putting their money into these sci-fi themed shows.
Look, you never get shortchanged. And usually, Apple Plus is probably by Netflix the best as far as visually, the best looking production value. Apple Plus, to me, I'm watching shows either Netflix or them are the 2 top ones as far as the way it looks in 4K. It looks beautiful. But yeah, definitely, I think I'm recommending it. But again, it's hard for me to tell you how much based off 2 episodes.
Yeah, sure.
To be fair. So the next one, Amazon Prime. We're touching all the streaming platforms here this week. New show, well, not new show, the new season, fourth and final season apparently of Goliath, which is kind of a lawyer, trial, show kind of thing, starring the great, Billy Bob Thornton, Bad Santa, who I absolutely love, and the show that we weren't big fans of the 3rd season. I don't think it was okay.
It was
the first 2 are really good. Yeah, it was an odd season. It was weird. The first 2 are really good, right? And Billy Bob, he's great. He's like this. He used to be like this big time, badass lawyer, and shit happens, and he's like inner demons he's dealing with, and he drinks all the time, and he kind of got pulled back into this, to the mix, if you will. But he's great. I love this guy. So, and he really carries the show. We've each only seen a couple episodes because there was so much to watch. There's only so much.
I only saw 1 episode actually last night.
Okay, well, I've seen a couple of these, and it's good, man. It's back to the form which seasons 1 and 2 were, right? Which is great, and we have J.K. Simmons in this one.
He plays the baddie.
He's a big baddie, of course. Now here, Goliath. Billy Bob Thornton character. He's going after. He gets hired by a big firm to go after this pharmaceutical company, who send these pain killing drugs that people get addicted, end up dying. You know how it goes, right?
Just akin to the opioid and the Purdue Pharma.
Right, it's not something we haven't seen before for the most part. But again, Jackie Simmons he's always good, and you haven't seen it Chew yet, but he does this musical song and dance number beginning the next episode 2.
Okay, good.
It's so good. It's weird.
Any drums? Any whiplash action?
No, whiplash. He's just singing his piano, his dance. It's like a Broadway thing, but with him. So and it kind of introducing his role in this whole situation with the drugs. It's an interesting way of presenting it. It's really cool, very unique. It's out there. It's I'm not gonna lie. It's odd, but it works.
I think we both like the show. Have liked the show. The only thing I will say negative about this is, it's for me. It's very jarring. The dream sequences he's having, because obviously we left off where he got shot at the end of season 3, right? Mm-hmm. So we didn't know, and actually we didn't know if this show was coming back, because they could have said he died, and that was.
Sure. Who knows? Maybe longer. Yeah.
Big jump, right? Well, who knows what happened, or where he went to rehab or hospital or whatever. But the dream sequence that he's having, even at the beginning, right? It was kind of didn't seem to flow with the story.
And there's more of that. I agree with you. I hope it ties it in, though. I'm assuming there's a point to that, right? So it's hard for me to judge yay or nay. Did that work or not?
I mean, you have a change of aspect ratio in the TV, so he's dreaming, he's thinking, he's hallucinating. I don't know, right?
Yeah, it's 4:3 when he's in dream sequence, so you know exactly when he's dreaming. When obviously it goes back to 16:9, when the show's back on track. So it's 2 episodes I've seen. It looks like it's more season 1 and 2, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I did hear it ends very well, so I'm looking forward to it. It's a good show, not a great show. I don't think it was like the first 2 seasons. It wasn't like, oh my god, you have to watch Goliath. It's one of those shows where even like Bosch on Amazon Prime, right? Where good shows, great filler. It's the kind of show you can go back and watch. Once the big shows are out and you have nothing else to watch. It's exactly the kind of show filler that the show is designed to be, right? You get some entertainment. Billy Bob's great. It's a cool story. You like that kind of trial kind of thing. It's for you. Yeah, I obviously recommend the show. I've had since the beginning.
Okay.
Nothing's really happened to make me change my mind on that. One way or another. Like the meter hasn't moved. Right, I'm still like in filler, right? Which is a good thing. It's not.
It's a final season, so let's just see.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Put a nice bow to it, because we lost Bosch and now we're losing Goliath. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, and these shows are good enough to it. We wanted to see it end properly, right? We didn't want to get hit. We don't want to get hit and run. Hello, just one season and that's it. This show is actually of good quality, and let's see how it ends. But I'm looking forward to it. It's a good show. The last one here. This is the one I think surprised me. I thought so far I liked the most. Maybe because I saw the whole thing. I know Chewie used a couple episodes in. And that is Midnight Mass, new show on Netflix by writer-director Mike Flanagan, who, this is his 3rd venture with Netflix. He gave us Haunted House on Haunted Hill. Am I saying that right? Some of that, which I thought was great. It's really good. A nice, good horror kind of family drama show. Really good. He gave us Blind Manor, which on the horror side I hated. On the story side, it was good. So I expected a House on Haunted Hill, whatever it's called, more than I didn't get that. So I was kind of a little bait and switch, because they kind of promoted it as the next version of that show. But it's still very good. Mike Flanagan, he does a lot of. He's written like things like Doctor Sleep, of course, adapting Stephen King work for the big screen. He's directed a lot of our horror films. So this is his genre. This is his wheelhouse, if we will. Now Midnight Mass, basically, it's takes place in this little smaller island. It's like a population of 20 people. It's very small.
127.
Yeah. It's like a little fishing community. There's a church there, St. Patrick's Church. It's a very close-knit, very Catholic-oriented community, right, for the most part. And we have people who coming back to the island. One of the main characters who, I guess, left the island. He wanted to explore and see what's out there. He got a DUI and killed some girl, was in jail, got released, and he had no choice but to go back home. And he's kind of reconnecting, trying to find his way. And there's a lot of people who they focus on the show, which have their own inner demons. And there's a priest that shows up. I guess the priest that was there, he fell ill, This new priest was sent by the archdiocese. They sent him out there to kind of take over. And there's obviously a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Of course, with Mike Flanagan, it's not a horror show. Let me say it right now. It's not. But there's a lot of stuff going on that he drops that something mysterious, or there'd be something creature or something lurking out there that's all connected. Chewy, I'll let you go first. I've seen the whole thing, but I kind of wait your thoughts because you've seen the first 2 episodes.
I've seen 3 episodes.
3, I'm sorry. I'm positive.
3 episodes. And actually, I've enjoyed it.
Okay.
It's slow burn.
It's a very
right?
slow burn. Very.
But there's enough elements of fear introduced as you progress from episode. The first episode, there's kids on the bottom, you kind of see the cat eyes, right, and what's going on. But then they flash to a dead cat, and there's something there. The next episode, there's basically 100 cats on the beach, dead from whatever. Right?
After a storm
came through. Yeah. Third episode, one of the characters, drug dealer, goes to this house, building, whatnot. He hears an echo of his voice, right? He says something later, it repeats back, very different tone, but obviously, like most tropey, horror movies, sure, you have to go check it out. You can't just say, F that, I'm out. No, I got to go in.
There's another version of you in there. I got to check this guy out.
Exactly. I got to go into the house with no lights and check it out because I'm a man. And all of a sudden, something grabs him, takes him,
right, it disappears.
Him, right, yeah. And so they introduced that, and obviously with the religious angle, right? That's a big play.
It's a huge part of the show.
The story,
yeah.
Yes, especially with the introduction of the new priest, right? And he kind of does a pseudo miracle, right?
Right. The end of season 2, the ending of episode 2. And we'll say,
yeah, with the girl in the wheelchair, which we're not sure if she could or could not walk, because obviously we're not told. We know she's in a wheelchair, right?
Right.
But we don't know how, what, or why.
But I won't spoil it. But yeah, they do get into it.
I just want to know why. But then they're having communion, and he kind of forces her to come get the communion, for whatever reason, and she's able to. Everyone's like, oh,
yeah, she stands up and walks towards the priest to get the sacrament, whatever. Yeah, so you're right, because it's a very slow burn. It really is, and not in a bad way, but this is a show, and this is what I decided to watch the whole show, because I know this show was going to hinge on the payoff, right? And I wanted to see, does this show pay off or not? Because this show, it's a limited series, obviously, so why not, right? So, yes, and every episode, despite that it's slow, a lot of interesting conversation, this whole show, he's really dissecting, religion, faith, the dangers and positive effects of faith in terms of being overly devoted to such a thing. Mm-hmm. But the necessity of having it around, he dissects that. A lot of talks about death and the afterlife. So it's a very deep show, very layered, which is very, very interesting. And I won't say, obviously I'm not going to spoil it here, but when we reveal one of the aspects, right, of what's going on with the mysterious thing with the eyes or whatever is out there. It's such an interesting and unique take on that genre. We've seen something similar. I won't say what it is because it would complete spoiler. I really don't want. It's hard to talk about without spoiling the show. But we've seen this marriage of religion and this thing out there before, but not in this way. Fascinating how your belief or this overbelief in Catholicism, kind of, you read the situation a certain way, right? And you went with it, and it causes havoc. By the end of the show, it's mass havoc out there. It really is, which is really cool. So it builds up, fascinating, the take on it. And yeah, there's always there's always something that in the first episode it was showing the creature, right? That kind of kept you hooked in, right? It's like, okay, I'll watch another one. Then the girl gets up from the chair at the end of episode 2. Okay, I gotta see it, right? Then 3, the guy, into the house. He does a good job of throwing just enough in there where if you're even getting bored or thinking what's going on here, enough to kind of keep you in the show. And then when it finally gets revealed, like, oh, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that. A couple of surprises, even with the priest tree. I don't think it's gone to the point where they've kind of shown you his story yet.
No, I wanted to be
okay.
in, so.
Then you're not there. Okay, so you're like, oh, okay, interesting, very fascinating what he's doing and the plan that's in there. Very, very cool. This is such a unique and interesting show. I love this show. It's really good. Again, it's not fast paced. It's not a horror show by any stretch. It has horror elements too. You agree with that? But it's not a horror show in the least, right? It's not what it's trying to do.
No, it's not a slasher flick or anything else. But there's enough introducing elements to induce fear, to induce
Yeah,
doubt,
exactly.
to
And
dark
mystery,
elements.
yeah,
Yes.
and keep you engaged. Like, okay, there's something beyond these conversations that they're having, right? Because it's a very character centric show,
Hmm.
and there's something going on there. You know, something's going on because he's giving these little tidbits. And like, okay, which is why I was waiting to see what's the payoff here. What we're going with this, and where it went to was super interesting, very cool, great conversations. His touching on religion was fascinating. And this really reminded me of because I heard before they compare it to like a Stephen King kind of thing, which Mike Flanagan has done with Doctor Sleep, for example. And I agree 100%. This big part of the show reminded me of The Mist. I don't know if you've seen it before. Anybody who's seen The Mist
I
out
remember,
there?
yeah, the movie and the
Yeah,
show, yeah.
right, man. Need for Things as well. A little bit of The Stand. That's all kind of mixed. It's got the same kind of vibe, right? Really cool show, man. Just unique experience. I mean, the end, you're like, okay, very fascinating. It ends well for them. It ends exactly how I thought it was going to end. I'll give it that much. And particularly, I think Chewie, when you get to episode 5, I was like, oh, wow. At the end of that, the tidbit, it's always something in the end that keeps you going. What happens at the end of episode 5 was like, oh my God, like, wow. Me and my friend were watching the show at the same time almost. And we're texting back, dude, oh, not expecting. I thought that was going to go a different way. Bam, really cool. Great choice in what the decision made by one of the characters. I loved it. So, yeah, man, it's a high recommend for me, dude. It really is. Chewie, I think you should, are you going to continue to watch? You should continue to watch
Yeah,
it.
I'm looking to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Yeah, I'm kind
so
of curious
far.
to get your take on this one next week to see when you finish it what you thought about it. I thought this is a home run. I think personally, I think this might be one that people may differ on, which is fine. I get it because people don't like slow burns as much, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If we're expecting hard, this is not it. So be forewarned. It's you're not getting yeah, there's elements there, but it's not. This is not slasher. This is not anything. There's not the Conjuring, anything to that effect at all, and it's not haunted. The haunting of House Hill. Whatever. Yeah, I can't think of the
Yes.
damn show. That one was good heart, right? This is not like that. It's the same kind of. It's very similar though. Very character based. A lot of conversations. Which worked really well for that show. So yeah, absolutely, this is a must watch. I think for me personally, I am curious to what you're gonna think about it when you finish watching the show because I really like it. It's very different. Very unique. And
Excellent.
I like that. So good for Netflix. You're taking chances and doing something different. I'd say I'm all for that. So, but there it is, true. That's what we have. That's what came out. So there's a lot of good stuff out there. The V Foundation, Mainnet Mass, of course. Goliath. I think yeah. Jaguar was a miss. Love in the Spectrum, must watch. I think personally. Vision's fine, solid. So the good stuff there. We're doing something different. Usually we like to set the table for the month, right? We got October coming up in about a week. But I figured we're doing a week-to-week basis, let you know what's coming out every week. So what we're going to be talking about the following week. So or shows that we don't know what's coming out. You can go, this is give an idea what you should be watching. If you're looking for something to watch, this is the list that comes out every week. We'll give that to you. And there's always going to be one or two things that probably pop up which we didn't see or come as a surprise. Usually a lot of movies come like that in Netflix films, for example. But it's stuff that we thought was worthy of talking about. So Chewy. We have a couple things. First, starting on Friday, the 28th on Netflix, we got Attack of the Hollywood Cliches. It's like a comedy documentary, and Netflix done well with these, for the most part. I think
History of swear words.
yeah, it's just short words. The last blockbuster kind of, the movies that made us, which we really enjoyed, things like that. It's in the same vein. In the same vein, Rob Lowe is hosting. I like Rob Lowe, and obviously talking about, I guess, the cliches that we are used to in Hollywood, right?
Tropes.
The
Hollywood
trope, yeah,
tropes.
stuff like okay, it's coming. So I'm kind of curious what exactly those tropes they're gonna touch on. So it looks entertaining. I'm not saying it's gonna be amazing. Just one to look out for. Comes out on Tuesday. Wednesday, we have a Nordic show. No, people, I get it. Got to read subtitles. God forbid. Oh my God. It's called The Chestnut Man. Looks very interesting. Comes out on the 29th. Netflix. All these shows will come on Netflix. Netflix is the only one releasing shows apparently, at least this week. And it's kind of a murder mystery thriller. It kind of reminded me in the vein of like Silence of the Lambs or Seven, along like very dark tone. And there's obviously someone killing people who's leaving these little things made of chestnut, little individuals, and they try to piece together. It looks fascinating. So I'm really looking forward to that show. Another one, Chewy, you point out was Made on Netflix. Comes out the first.
Friday.
Yeah,
Yes.
Friday. I think that's it's based off memoirs, right?
Yes. A
But a woman,
drama. Yes.
yeah, a woman who I guess takes a kid as an abusive relationship. She goes out on her own, and she finds a job as a maid, of course, and she's trying to survive and make it on her own, something like that, right? If I'm
Yeah,
not
it's the gist
mistaken.
of it.
Yeah, it
Yes.
looks interesting. I mean, it doesn't look like exciting. It's not Chestnut Man. It's not in a mask or anything like that. But listen, it could be an interesting show. We'll check it out for you guys. Another movie coming out on Netflix on the first is The Guilty.
With Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal is a great actor. I heard actually they got it's premiered at one of the film festivals and they got pretty good reviews. which for Netflix, it's a rare thing, right? So this looks interesting. I'm not sure exactly what the premise is, but I know it's one I'm looking
Well,
forward to.
he's a 911 operator,
Okay.
and so he obviously gets a call about an ongoing kidnapping, right? And so the story goes from there, and obviously it's from his perspective, his point of view, trying to find the person who's been kidnapped.
Gotcha. Okay. It looks like I said, I've heard good things about it. I like Jake Gyllenhaal, so why not? And then also the bonus, man. We got a brand new show releasing on Netflix, which I'm really looking forward to, and that is, of course, the new show called Seinfeld. Um, Listen, if you haven't seen it, it's new to you, right? So whatever. But if you haven't seen Seinfeld, I get it because it's usually on syndication. I think Crackstream used to have it, but that's a service nobody really had. I think I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Hulu had it too. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, no, they didn't.
So I don't think it's been on the major on the streaming platform before. I don't think I don't think it has. So there's a chance for those of you who haven't seen it. It's one of the greatest comedies of all time and most popular sitcoms ever made. It's iconic. I mean, we can quote this show literally all day long. Just the thoughts behind it. You mentioned
No soup for you.
yeah, we talked about the no soup and all that, man hands, the big salad, and shrinkage. The masturbation. I mean, this
Master
show,
my domain. I'm out.
master my domain, the king of the castle. It's just listen. There's so much good stuff in this show. It's amazing.
Serenity now.
Fushili, Serenity now. Fushili, Jerry. The Ass Man. Like I said, we can go on forever with this show. Those of us who've seen Seinfeld, but listen,
the junior mints.
The junior mints. I mean, it's so good to have this show on Netflix because I haven't seen it in a while, right? Because I just don't watch like regular TV for the most part, and definitely not at 4 or 5 o'clock when this show's usually on. I guess I don't know. But either way, to have it on Netflix, that kind of platform. Look, if you guys haven't seen it, dude, must watch. Obviously. If you have seen it like us, but it's a good way to kind of go back and pick and choose, cherry pick the episodes that you like the most, like a Soup Nazi. Chu, you mentioned your son hasn't seen it.
No, we've talked about the Soup Nazi, and I tried to find clips for him online. And it's like, now finally I can show him. And he gets a joke, but now to actually see the episode, the Soup Nazi, and to be able to partake in the laughter of that episode.
Right, to great, see man. It, right, to introduce a new generation to Seinfeld. There's so much good stuff, The Marlboro Man, the real and the spectacular. My God, the whole show just with these damn quotes. It's just so much. It's so much to it. Yeah, it didn't end well last episode. Fine, who cares, right? It's a sitcom. Who gives a shit? But yeah, so I'm excited. Looking for. I'll definitely be. That's one of the shows you pop in for 20. It's like 20, probably 22 minutes because
22 minutes. Yeah,
so it's one of the shows. Yeah, in between shows,
80s, early 90s sitcom comedy.
Yeah, and you take your time, watch it every so often. Like watch some Seinfeld now, pop it in. So and glad it's on Netflix. Good for Netflix. This is
stuff that's like almost 30 years old, man. So
it is, man. It's been a while.
Funny. It's still funny.
Hilarious. It's great. I mean, yeah, it's so good. I can't. When my girlfriend's never seen it, so
can't stand you.
Yeah, Costanza. So Kramer. Elaine, of course. So yeah, my girlfriend's gonna watch it. She hasn't seen it before, so I'll watch it with her probably to try to get her into it. So it's one of those. But yeah, excited to see that. I guess obviously we're not gonna review the show. There's no need. We might quote the show every few weeks because what the hell. But that being said, so like I said, we got 4 really new things coming out next week. We'll talk about those, and maybe something else may drop. I think maybe a couple shows that I'm missing, or a movie may drop, and we'll talk about that. So
I will say that I got the stars out because I want to start watching that show Heels.
The Heels,
on
comes
Star.
out on the 7th.
So I'm gonna start watching that. So like I said, great reviews, both critical and from the audience score. And obviously we're legacy fans of wrestling. We're not active fans right now. We watched it back in the 80s. Reconnected again in mid to late 90s with the NWO and stuff. Degeneration X. but
Chico.
Yeah. but I mean, like I said, interesting story, and obviously with wrestling as icing on the cake, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, and what I'm curious about, because maybe I'll watch it at some point. It's gonna be on somewhere. I'll watch it with stars or whatever the case is. So, but yeah, so look, that's where we are. So like lots to watch this week. Lots to pop in. Next week's a light week, so if you haven't cut up on some of these shows, it gives you time to do that. And on Friday, the little Seinfeld marathon, I don't know, midnight marathon of Seinfeld, why not? Little drink, enjoy yourself a big salad. What the hell? So that being said, guys,
yada.
share, like the video. If you want to know what to watch, this is a show you want to be watching on a week-to-week basis. We drop them every Sunday. Subscribe. We got other shows, Nurse Planning, of course. I do with my co-host Eric De Silva, funny comedian. We got a new show debuting this week. Hopefully, we want to get that out to you guys. We have a little fun. a little debate kind of show, calling it Thanos' choice. We'll get into it more hopefully next week. We'll drop that sometime middle of the week. So that being said, subscribe, like, we appreciate it. You guys take care. Have a good one.
Peace.